I'm Sofina and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to show you how to get backpacking permits at Yosemite National Park. There are chapters set up and in the description, so if you are interested in skipping to a different part, then feel free to do that. All of the links that I talk about today will also be down in the description, so it'll be easier for you to navigate the permit process. Yeah, that's it. Let's get into it. Yosemite National Park is one of the best places to start and just fall in love with backpacking. Every part of the park has dramatic landscape, from the towering monoliths to the vast meadows. And another good thing about it is there's always people around. So for your first backpacking trip, it's nice to know worst case scenario, you can always ask another camper for help and you're not gonna be up there alone. We went last year around June on Tioga Road and it was amazing, and definitely want to do it again, but this year we're actually going to be camping in a campground just so that we can explore kind of a wider range of areas within the park. So if you are not quite up for a backpacking trip, or you want to take a friend that's not up for a backpacking trip, then I take you step by step through how to get a campground reservation here. But you best be ready because those sites fill up within the first 2 minutes of being released. Okay, back to backpacking permits. So first we're gonna go over the important dates for reservations, how to pick a trail, the step-by-step process of actually making the reservation, and then we'll end with some helpful tips. For each trailhead, there is a certain number of people who can enter per day, and that's going to be the trailhead's quota. There's a trailhead quota all throughout the year. However, in the winter months, November through April, Yosemite is covered in snow, so there's not as many people wanting to go backpacking. And so the trailheads don't fill up. So you can go ahead and get a wilderness permit the day before or the day of your backpacking trip with no reservation required. The busy season is May through October, and you can expect many of the trailheads to fill up. So planning ahead is really going to serve you well. 60% of the wilderness permits become available for reservation 24 weeks in advance. That's 6 months. And it's based on a lottery system, which we'll go over in more detail in a later section. So after the lottery, all of the remaining spots become available for reservation on a first come, first served basis, up to 7 days before your backpacking trip starts. If you are less than 7 days before your backpacking trip, you can't make any reservations, but you can go to the Wilderness Center at Yosemite and stand in line and try to get one of the first come, first served wilderness permits. So the other 40% of the wilderness permits are not reservable, and they're only available on a first come, first served basis the day of or the day before your backpacking trip. So if you wanted to go on a backpacking trip on Friday, you would go in to a wilderness center at Yosemite on Thursday or Friday to try and get a wilderness permit. So backpacking reservations have already started at Yosemite, but don't let that discourage you. There are still many trailheads available from May to July. If you have more questions on how to plan your backpacking trip, you can watch this video next. So now we're going to talk about how to choose a trail. There are 5 regions of the park: Hetch Hetchy, Tioga Road, Tuolumne Meadows, Yosemite Valley, Glacier Point Road, and Wawona. Some trailheads are closed in 2022, and Tioga Road, Glacier Point Road, and Mariposa Grove typically open up between middle May and middle of June. So once past a certain distance from the trailhead, indicated by these arrows, you can camp anywhere you like, as long as you follow the 7 principles of Leave No Trace. The only exceptions are campsites at Little Yosemite and at the 5 High Sierra camps. You'll need to know the trailhead that you want to start and end at, the dates that you begin and end your backpacking trip, and the area you plan to camp on the first night. To narrow down my options, I turn to All Trails. Here you can look at routes that others have done to see if the distance and elevation gain is reasonable for you. You can see the pictures of the area and get an idea for the terrain. and you can read the reviews from others that had hiked that trail during the time that you're planning on going the previous year. This is good to have a better understanding of what to expect. For instance, heat, mosquitoes, and air quality is also something to keep in mind. If there's a route that you want to take but no one else has put it on AllTrails, you can also draw your own route and then get the distance and elevation gain information. If you have the paid version of AllTrails, you can also download the map for use offline. So then during your hike, you can see if you're on track, because while you may not have cell signal, your GPS is still usually working and you'll be able to see where you are on that map. So now that you know when and where you're going, you can enter the lottery. And the lottery opens for specific dates every Sunday at 12:01 a.m. and then closes the following Saturday at 11:59 p.m. The results of the lottery are emailed to you on Monday, and then you have until Thursday to claim and pay for your reservation. Any unclaimed reservations or spots are then given up for first come, first serve, which becomes available on Friday at 9 a.m. The application fee is $10 per application, and then if you get the permit, it's an additional $5 per person. These application fees are non-refundable and non-transferable, and you can have up to 6 upcoming reservations. You can use the link in the description below, or you can go to recreation.gov and search for Yosemite National Park Wilderness Permits. It'll take you to an open lottery page where you can register for the lottery, or if you miss the lottery for the dates that you want, you can explore available permits. Okay, let's do this. We're going to register for the open lottery. So first you'll fill out your name, your address, all of that information. And then you can add up to 3 other people as alternative permit holders. And definitely take advantage of that, because if you get sick or if something happens and you can't make the trip, then one of your alternate permit holders can pick up the permit and the rest of the group can still go on that trip. Next, you need to put in your trip preferences, and you can put up to 8 choices. And the order does matter. So you want to put your most preferred trip dates and trailheads as the first choice, and then the least preferred trip as your last choice. Again, these fees are non-refundable, and you can't change your entry date, but you can increase the group size later on if there are still permits available. You want to make sure that you understand the wilderness regulations, which are going to include the 7 leave no trace principles. And then since Yosemite is bear country, you're going to need a bear canister in order to store your food properly and keep them away from the bears. Unless you're at one of the campsites like Little Yosemite or those 5 High Sierra camps that all have bear walkers there. And then lastly, your permit must be picked up in person. So that's why those alternate permit holders are going to be really important. You then agree to the terms, pay for your application, and then you just got to wait until Monday after the lottery closes to see if you got your permit. So lastly, we're at helpful tips. And the first helpful tip is going to be staying in the Front Country Backpackers Campground. So with your permits, you're able to stay in the Front Country Backpacker Campgrounds for 1 night before your trip and then 1 night after your trip. And this is such a great opportunity to be able to explore other parts of the park that you're not going to visit on your backpacking trip. Unfortunately, we didn't know that when we went the first time, but now we know. And then tip number 2 is just additional considerations for picking the time of year you're going to visit. So a few things that you should consider are the number of people that are going to be there, so visitation numbers, the weather, and then also one that you probably didn't think of, wildfire smoke. So if you're not from California, the state is basically on fire for most of the summer. So my recommendation would be try to go between May and June. The weather is cooler, and you also likely won't have to worry about wildfire smoke. The summer and winter are both very beautiful in Yosemite as well. But in the summer, that's going to be peak season. You're gonna have large crowds, you might have high heat, and then you might also have to worry about wildfire smoke, which can make it really uncomfortable to be outside and enjoying nature. And then in the winter, many trails and roads in the park are actually closed due to snow. But what an amazing way to experience solitude in such a magnificent place. I think I'm gonna try winter camping. Let me know if you've ever gone winter camping in Yosemite down in the comments. I would love to hear about your experience. So that's it for this video. If you are enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you on the trail.